You are not under the new tornado warning, but you do need to be on your toes because this would be tracking into Waukesha County next. It's moving to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Charles, you got a question?
Yeah, so as I'm watching this and I'm watching Brendan and the storm chaser, I mean, it looks like the 4th of July out there. He's saying it's more cloud to cloud. But what are you seeing? Because I see occasional, are those ground strikes of lightning that you're seeing there? How rapid is that?
Sure.
And we're always concerned about lightning.
Absolutely. So each one of these little strikes here is a cloud to ground strike. So every cloud to ground strike, there's probably 10 that are just hitting up in the clouds. So each one of these within the last 15 minutes, if it's white here, is an indication of a cloud to ground lightning strike. So yeah, given the time of year, this has a healthy amount of lightning. This is pretty crazy. You just don't see this in February too often. This part right here, I would say that's to the east of Jefferson, south of Johnson Creek. This little notch here is probably where we're seeing the best chance of still a little bit of rotation with this. I'm going to get the latest on the new warning here from the National Weather Service. We'll give you the direct wording as far as what they're thinking with this part of the storm that's moving through. Let's see if I can get up the new information, hopefully. There we go. In the meantime, Brendan, are you out there? Brendan Johnson has been tracking this storm. Oh, look at that lightning. Brendan, again, you're seeing tons of lightning. Are you in Fort Atkinson now?
Yes, Niz. We are in downtown Fort Atkinson right now, so we are making our way through. You can tell there has been some rain here. We actually do have a little bit of some water droplets here on the storm chaser, but the ground completely soaked. And yes, we're still dealing with a lot of that lightning, as Charles alluded to. I mean, I think he made the really good point. If you're under this storm, the sky is lit up like the 4th of July. It is so unusual to see that in the state of Wisconsin in the month of February. And as you mentioned, we now have, it appears, our first confirmed tornado in the state of Wisconsin in the month of February, and it happened right here outside our back door in southern Wisconsin. Of course, we had that view from Monroe a little bit earlier. So again, we continue to make our way. We're now adjusting a little bit, of course, trying to stay on the south side of this particular cell that is making its way through Jefferson County. Again, this is the focus right now. This is the tornado-warned cell, the one that is generating still a bit of some rotation. We're continuing to watch and see if that rotation gets a little bit more organized. And if that happens, that will, of course, generate a bit more concern. But things are a little bit disorganized. Again, this is early February. We were very much under a marginal threat of severe weather. Dew points in the 40s. We typically like to see those 50 or above, but we were able to punch that up. In Monroe earlier, we had a 51-degree dew point. We have, as Brian mentioned, a lot of shear in the atmosphere. That is the changing wind direction and speed as you go vertically up in the atmosphere. That's what gets these storms to rotate, and that's what we're seeing happen here this evening across parts of southern Wisconsin. We didn't necessarily need a lot of instability, a lot of moisture like we typically see in the spring and summer months. If you've got a very active wind field in the first several thousand feet of the atmosphere, and you're even able to generate a few storms, this is the kind of scenario that is able to develop. So that's what we're really locked into this evening. But as you look here on the storm chaser, again, we make our way through Fort Atkinson and now making our way towards Helenville. So we're making a little bit of a northeast jog here to kind of keep up with that base of the storm on radar. That's primarily what we are looking at, but this is the 360-degree camera. We're now kind of getting into a more darkened area here as we make our way through Walworth and now Jefferson County, and this is what we're seeing, a very low cloud deck, lots of lightning, and this is something I'm going to keep my eye on here as we kind of observe what is actually happening in the low levels of the atmosphere. So lightning is essentially the view that we've got, the light source that we've got. Brian?
Brendan, Charles and Shannon, you guys have some information that's going to make this a little bit more real, right? You guys,
yeah, we're just getting word into the newsroom that Evansville has seen some structural damage. That is just west of Fort Atkinson. Where, Charles, what are you hearing police tell us now?
We're hearing at least 20 structures that have been damaged in this storm. And so, Brian, I don't know if you can take us back, because that was your original concern, right?
Yeah, Evansville area. That was when things were.
So this is the Evansville, right?
And this is the video that I was
you were just telling our viewer to Too
told
close
her,
for
I mean,
comfort.
I get it. Like, I am passionate. I want to get that image, but folks, this is way too close for comfort. I really do appreciate the video, but you have to be in your basement. You're seeing that. You got to be going ducking for cover right now.
But is it the all clear now in Evansville?
Evansville is all clear now.
Okay.
Yes, this part of this storm is out of Evansville. So some of you folks at home are wondering maybe where's Evansville? Evansville is south of Stoughton. That's south of Dane County. It's back towards Rock County, to the southwest of Lake Koshkonong, southwest of Fort Atkinson. Now, what we can do is we can go back, so we can talk about when this was going through Evansville. And it's going to take me a minute to boot it up here. But
this is where you saw that rotation.
Totally.
This is where you had that concern about the different colors and the
absolutely,
different direction.
right?
There it is right
so
there.
Here we go. So let's go back to Evansville. See how those colors aren't necessarily that tight? They're not that bright. Watch what happens by Evansville. Ready? Watch this. See how it got tighter?
Yeah, they're
got closer.
touching.
Look at that right there. See, so again, what we're looking at right here. See how that red-ish color hits that dark blue, that really dark blue indicating a really strong wind popped right there. So right there, Evansville. That's definitely, this is where I'm thinking, oh, and I bet you right now, folks, if I don't know, like Porter area here, how big of a town, it's a small town, that is really, really pronounced on radar. So there's likely damage. I mean, this thing was, if it was touching down in Evansville, it's definitely touching down here. And again, it worked its way farther upstream. So then as we go farther upstream, watch what happens as this moves into Jefferson County. Really pronounced tornado on radar. Then just about as it crosses over, so like still looking pretty good. This is the county line into Jefferson County, and then it basically lifts up, which was fantastic news, hopefully, for Fort Atkinson. If that thing would have kept going, Fort Atkinson would be in a very, very bad situation right now. But now the part of that storm, let's go to now. So what we did is we went back in the past. Now we're looking at the storm now, and guys, on radar, this looks dramatically better. We're not seeing any of those like couplets, any of those areas of rotation that
But
we
are
were
they
seeing.
still experiencing heavy rains
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
hail? So that's going to make it a challenge for many of the first responders out there trying to check and see from those damaged homes. We're talking homes as well as businesses, 20 possibly or more that they're looking at. And at this hour, I mean, this is the dinner hour.
Yeah, so here's Evansville. Thankfully, it looks like the storms are winding down for those folks there, but lightning's still pretty close by, tracking to the east over towards Edgerton, Lake Koshkonong. Now, as we go back a little bit farther northeast, there's where we have the potential tornadic part of this storm. I'm watching, it's not showing up really much on velocity, but I am watching this part closely. I mentioned this earlier, the little swirl here. I don't like the looks of that. That's between Johnson Creek and Concord. So right here, this is where, at least on the reflectivity, we're seeing a little bit of a hook showing up. So technically, Oconomowoc, you're not under the tornado warning, but given what I'm seeing here on radar and how fast these are moving, it might be a good idea for you to take shelter in a basement, innermost room, definitely away from windows if you are in Oconomowoc, because this is going to move in here pretty quickly as it does. Again, likely some strong winds and still the outside chance that we have a tornado with this. But on radar, definitely not looking as pronounced as what we had a little while ago. But bad damage reported in the Evansville area, guys.
So the Evansville area, another concern. We're hearing power outages. This is the video that we have seen earlier that has come into our newsroom. So we know now, Shannon, of structure damage, and what are they saying about power outages?
That basically Evansville is completely out, so which again making it a challenge for any first responders trying to check on folks to make sure that they are safe, all while this storm is currently happening in the Evansville area. Again, you mentioned Evansville is just southwest of where this tornado came through with a vengeance.
We also hear cell phones availability as well, because the cell phone towers have been impacted by this. So this is going to be a big concern, especially if there's now an effort by crews, fire crews, police crews to get to neighborhoods, to get to locations. Is this another?
Sam, our producer in back, says this is from Albany. Another small. Oh, that's Evansville still. We do have video from Albany. This is Albany right now. This looks to be funnel cloud. Ricky's sending this in. Yep, there you can see towards the top of the screen. You see how it kind of has that little funnel notch that's coming down right there. Again, this was all in the past. Thankfully, what we're seeing right now isn't as pronounced as this continues to work its way through Jefferson County. I do want to go back to where we had that confirmed tornado. We keep talking about Evansville. This is, again, correlation coefficient. So this is another way that we are able to see that this is a confirmed tornado on the radar. You may be looking at these colors. Well, what does this mean? What I'm looking at is if all of a sudden we see like a little blob show up here that's like a lighter color and it moves, like if it's almost like a defined circle, what that is debris spiraling in the tornado. So watch this. Watch as we go through time. See that right there by Porter? That there's a debris ball. And watch how it tracks through southwestern corner of Dane County and then into Jefferson County. That's likely debris flying up in the sky. That's an indication that we have damage. We have a damaging tornado that went through Evansville up to Porter, potentially southeastern Dane County. But thankfully, things have weakened since then. Let's head back out to our Storm Team 4 meteorologist, Brendan Johnson. He's been doing an awesome job providing us a view from the Storm Chaser, Milwaukee's only mobile weather lab. And you're coming up on that part of the storm, Brendan, that has had a history of producing tornadoes that's just now working through the eastern part of Jefferson County.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Niz. We're going to be heading here on County Highway D. We're going to head north up towards Helenville. You're just looking at our dash camera here. So we're going to make a right here on County D and head north up towards Helenville. Yes, we are on the south side of this particular cell. We were making our way a little bit farther to the east and really have been able to see a really good structure on this storm. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of rotate our camera on the roof here so that we can kind of see what's going on, because now that we've changed directions just a little bit. So this is the north look of the storm. I'm going to go ahead and change it over. And now I'm looking to the north and to the east. And you can see, boy, does that sky look a bit angry. And there is still quite a bit of lightning. So this is the cell in question that we have been following really for the last, goodness, about an hour or so, maybe a little bit more than that. And of course, when we get the clearing, you're able to really see that storm in the foreground. Lots of lightning in this cloud deck. And we continue to follow up this County Highway D, as we continue to move to the north. But you can see a little bit, it looks like clouds beginning to lower just a little bit. It's really hard to see, of course, at night and make some definitive observations. The only light source we have is the lightning. That's it. But quite a bit of it here this evening. And again, it's early February. We're just not typically used to seeing this in Wisconsin in the month of February. But this is our night vision camera. You're able to kind of see a little bit better with the night vision here as we continue to make our way north towards Helenville on County Highway D. And you can really see the structure on this storm. I mean, it is still quite there as we continue to watch for any additional rotation that makes itself known on radar, and that's something that Brian is continuing to watch back in the studio. Any new updates, Brian?
Yeah, Brendan, I mean, can you believe this is February? I mean, this is insane. But again, update here from the Weather Service. I was just on their chat. We have an exclusive chat here that we're able to chat with the Weather Service. And again, as of right now, there is no new reports of an actual tornado confirmed on the ground. There's no spotter reports of seeing funnel clouds. Part of the problem is it's dark outside. So we're basically relying on lightning flashes and that night mode on the Storm Chaser. And Brendan's pretty much centered right around here. Brendan is very, very close. He's within the tornado warning. He's right in the area where we would be able to see a tornado, hopefully. So one thing that I do want to point out, a lot of people concerned about, okay, if I do not live in a single family home, where should I be going if you're within this tornado warning? So the biggest idea is you want to get to your lowest floor. If you're in an apartment building, you're on floor 2 or 3, you got some neighbors below you, head on down there. That's going to be better for you folks if you're within the tornado warning. You want to get away from windows. You want to get into the lowest floor that you possibly have. Maybe get under a table. Get as many walls as you possibly can in between you. Not a bad idea if you have an interior bathroom to go sit in the bathtub. Again, you want to get as many walls as you possibly can in between you and potentially that tornado outside. All right, I want to take a wider view here. One other thing that I just I just remembered, and it's pretty minor compared to the potential tornado damage, is that we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that includes southern part of Milwaukee County. Bucks game is going to start here in like 15 minutes. So if you are like sitting outside like in a bar to the Bucks game, get in the game now because you're not going to want to do it when this starts rolling in here in about a half hour or so. So get inside. Pfizer Forum will be secure for you to be inside during the storm versus walking around the Deer District and stuff. All right, back to the warnings. Hey, look at this. This could be a really, really good sign. I want to be able to confirm it for you folks, but I'm getting an indication here that the not the severe thunderstorm, the tornado warning that was issued for Jefferson County, canceling early with that. So again, as of right now, we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, but no more tornado warnings. Guys, do you have any other reports or any other damages, or maybe just kind of quickly go over the damage that we have that's back in Evansville and some of the stuff that you...
Yeah, I definitely want to let our viewers know that not only do we have Brendan in the storm chaser, we also have crews headed out to check out some more damage headed towards East Troy. But as we first reported, Evansville experiencing about 20 buildings with damage, whether that was residential or business, and the fact that they're also dealing with a power outage.
And that was a quick call to the police department, and we said, can you go on the air with us? They're like just way too busy, as we can understand. So they were able to give us that quick update, and based on some of the video that we have seen out of that area, not surprised to see that there has been some damage to structure in that area. Largely a rural area, but still a concern anytime you're dealing with a tornado. And then on top of that, power outages.
And not to mention, I guess, the fact that they're also dealing with outages with cell phone towers because that wind and rain came through, possibly knocking out some of that communication, which is key when we talk about the TMJ4 weather app and able to keep up to date as long also with having a weather radio in these situations.
So, Brian, you got an update.
100% confirmation from the Weather Service that the tornado warning that was issued for Jefferson County allowed to cancel early. This is a fantastic sign. We still have active weather. I don't want you to be going out and about here. We still have lots of lightning with this storm. We still have quite a bit of hail with it as well that's moving through the Koshkonong area, also Fort Atkinson, and extending up towards Oconomowoc. Still several severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, there's just now another new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Oconomowoc up towards not quite to Erin and Hartford. This goes again, let's see here, severe thunderstorm warning. That goes, it says 7 o'clock, but I would think it'll end up being a little bit later than that. As of right now, 7 o'clock on that severe thunderstorm warning. You also have a larger warning for this cell that was producing some hail that's moving through McGuanago. But before we get back to maybe a little bit more information out of Evansville real quickly here, I do want to go back to where this was really looking very, very tornadic. And I just want to point out again, maybe you have some relatives in that area that you want to check on them. You want to make sure that they're okay. Let's go back here. I want to go back at least an hour. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at where I can pretty much see when there was a tornado on the ground here. We're talking, okay, so it needs to go back a little bit farther than an hour. So let's go 2 hours. And all right, so there's Evansville, which is in the northwest portion of Rock County. So that's where we had a tornado first confirmed on the ground here. You notice the red and the teal color starting to get closer. Watch what happens shortly after that. You see how this thing really tightens up right around Porter. So likely a tornado from Evansville to Porter. Let's see again how this is going to, let's move a little bit farther downstream and see how far this really lasted on the ground. Edgerton passed just north of you in Edgerton. And just as it starts to edge into Jefferson County, Sumner still, that potentially is a tornado, still on the ground. And then basically right as it gets into the Fort Atkinson area, things really start to dissipate. So likely from Sumner back towards Evansville, if you can draw a line from there, that is likely where we had a destructive tornado on the ground, guys.
So is Brendan right now seeing rain when I'm looking out on that monitor there?
Sure.
Are we just on rain, or are we also seeing hail anymore?
Yeah, let's head back out. If we can, head out to Brendan, see what he's seeing on the 360 camera. Brendan, if you can hear us, is that hail, or are you also, or are you just seeing some rain?
You can hear it.
Oh, yeah, listen to that.
This is just some good old-fashioned rain, Niz.
Oh, rain.
Some good
Okay, it sounds
old-fashioned
like...
rain, and it is coming down Yeah, it's coming down at a pretty good clip here. Now we are heading east. We were just in Helensville. We're actually heading east on US 18. We're actually heading in the direction of Sullivan, so we're actually going to be pretty close to the National Weather Service office. But yes, I have the 360 camera here pointed right in the direction of the rain. But again, you can see that cloud deck still fairly low, still a lot of lightning. But great news that you're sharing, tornado warning canceled early. We're losing the signs of that rotation. But again, just a heads up to folks, this is still producing some good downpours. It's also producing, some breezy conditions as well. Last check of the storm chaser here, I've got a 21.8 mile per hour wind. Remember that as we move down the roadway, our onboard weather system can actually use GPS to subtract our forward vehicle motion. I will tell you, dew point right now hovering around 45, 46 degrees. So still a little bit elevated here, but yeah, we're just dealing with some good old-fashioned rain. Have not hit any hail yet, Niz.
Let's keep the picture up there, Brendan. I'm going to be loading up some stuff here. But, Brendan, you find yourself, I know you're looking at the radar too, you're like in between the two cells there. You got one that's back towards Oconomowoc. And one thing that I do want to point out with that cell that Brendan is really facing up north of him towards Oconomowoc, starting to get like a little bit interesting, a little bit of a tail on it. I'm not saying it's worthy of a tornado warning or not yet, but here's Brendan. Brendan is, let's see here, I'm going to put a little arrow on where Brendan would be. Brendan is basically right here. He's approaching Sullivan. So what I'm looking at is this area to the north, to the northeast of him. A little bit of an extension from that storm that's back towards Oconomowoc. Ooh, that's popping some good hail now right around Oconomowoc on the latest scan. So that's a stronger part of the storm. The good news is we have the storm chaser right on it. So if that is going to be producing a tornado, Brendan is in a fantastic spot to be able to spot that for us and your viewers at home as well, Brendan. Brendan, are you still looking ahead? So are you driving towards Sullivan? So what we're seeing is you driving towards that cell that's to the north of Sullivan.
Absolutely, yes. So right now you are looking from the storm chaser just to, it looks like, the north and to the west. So we're looking at the south side of that cell that you've been referencing, Niz. As we kind of make this curve here in the roadway, we'll kind of get a better vantage point here as we kind of round this curve. But again, low clouds, lots of lightning with this. Again, I would say we picked up that lightning activity within about the last 5 minutes. Really have noticed quite a bit of more of that lightning. Again, the lightning is our light source. That is what I'm using to make some observations, just kind of look at this cloud deck, kind of analyze what's going on. Of course, very turbulent as you expect with some thunders, with general thunderstorms. And of course, this evening with all of the, activity we've seen, this has been really tapping into some real good changing wind direction and speed as you go up in the atmosphere. All right,
Brendan,
we're really starting to pick up the rain.
This.
I think we're...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're starting to maybe mix in a little bit of some hail, and we're getting a little bit more of that rain really falling on the storm chaser here, Niz.
For the storm chaser's sake, I would say a little bit away from Oconomowoc, because on radar, I'm seeing a pretty good hail signature again, starting to show up on the radar right around Oconomowoc. Folks, again, you folks, this is not tornadic as of right now, but you do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Oconomowoc with likely a torrential downpour, or this is likely some hail. This is super high reflectivity for a radar. So again, this is likely some hail, especially on the south side of Oconomowoc here. You folks, again, are probably getting quite a bit of hail. Valley Road, moving right through Oconomowoc Parkway as well. Just about ready to cross over Silver Lake Road, North Silver Lake Road there, and eventually 67 as well. This is high reflectivity, but I want to check and see that vertically integrated liquid. That's not terribly high, and it's to the north, so maybe it's not as strong of a hail signature as I was initially thinking. Yeah, there's a little bit of yellow going with that, but where we had the large hail earlier, it would be popping the pinks and the purples as well. So again, keeping a close eye on that before we want to completely let our guard down. Yeah, thankfully the rotation part of this is pretty much wiped out. Not seeing any rotation with that storm that's producing potentially a little bit of hail there in Oconomowoc. And then let's take a look at the bigger picture. What we'll do here is the bigger picture is see where we still have a few active severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we'll get you your forecast here before we go. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for a portion of western Milwaukee County, like the West Dallas area, and back towards eastern Waukesha County. This goes until 7:15. These little storms here that move through Mukwonago have the chance of producing some hail. As of right now, they look to be a little bit weaker than when that warning was issued. All right, let's take a look at our next warning that's farther to the west. Areas that were under a tornado warning previously, still under a severe thunderstorm warning, good portion of Jefferson County until 7:15. And then we have one final severe thunderstorm warning that's to the north, includes Oconomowoc. And let's see when this one goes until, that one goes until technically 7 o'clock as well. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through future forecast. We'll get together a little forecast here. It's the current look at the radar, or excuse me, our computer model, indicating the storms that are working through the area. So this initializes pretty good. And what we're going to end up doing here is working our way and stepping through the forecast. So, all right, there we go. So as we go through the overnight hours, by midnight tonight, you can see again, the storms are long gone. Now, by tomorrow morning, more clouds to the north, more sun to the south. Looks like a decent day on Friday. Windy, still going to be mild, highs in the 50s. Additional rainfall, we're looking at maybe up to 2/10 of an inch of rain. If you get under one of these downpours, yeah, maybe you could see locally higher amounts, but these are moving pretty quickly. Before the storms, what a day. We got up to 59 degrees here in Milwaukee, shattering the record of 55, providing just enough fuel for these February thunderstorms. Again, our first tornado on record today for the month of February in Wisconsin. High temperatures across southeastern Wisconsin, 60 in Kenosha, 55 in Whitewater. Currently in Milwaukee, we are facing southwest. Let's see if we get a lightning strike here. Yep, nothing yet. That's a good sign. 55 degrees, winds out of the south at 14 miles per hour. Another good sign that maybe we're getting less lightning with these storms. Weather headlines here. Severe storm potential, obviously ongoing. Another record possible tomorrow, windy at times. Your forecast for tonight, a low temperature of 46 degrees. Showers and storms early, partly cloudy and windy. For tomorrow, a high temperature of 54 degrees. Windy with some clouds north, sun across the south. Here's your 7-day forecast. No severe weather, thankfully. A little bit more typical for February. 40 on Saturday. Chance of a little light mix Saturday morning. We'll keep an eye on that. On Sunday, 38 degrees. Monday, 40 degrees. Tuesday, 38. 41 Wednesday. And a chance of some light snow on Thursday. I'm going to hop back into the Weather Center. We'll keep you updated on any additional severe thunderstorm warnings. And Charles and Shannon, I know you guys are getting in lots of reports, and we'll continue to bring you those updates as far as the damage that happened just to the west of us.
A lot happening in a little bit of time.
So let's recap what we do know. Evansville seems to be the area where we have reports of damage. We're hearing from the police department that as many as 20 structures have been damaged. Also a concern about power outages. And I see Dan Seelan, who's on our assignment desk, saying that they have now set up a command center to deal with issues in Evansville. And anytime you see that they've set up a command center, they are going to be expecting a late night, a long night.
And here's just one last look from one of our viewers sending us that storm as it was hitting. And you can see that funnel cloud that Brian has been talking about all evening long. Again, we have crews on the ground headed probably to that command center to have more information to wrap all of this up for you tonight at 10.
Yeah, and stick with us too. We still have a couple really good ongoing severe thunderstorms here. No tornado warnings as of right now. I'm not seeing anything as of right now on radar, but we have a highly sheared environment. I mean, all the conditions are still there for something to spin back up.
And if something is there, you will pop back on.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can, of course, follow us on TMJ4.com as well, or our mobile app.
And so in the next 24 hours, we'll see crews out to confirm what was exactly in Evansville and how.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to get confirmation. There's obviously clear damage that was reported. Heart goes out to Evansville area. Hopefully, we're hoping for the best.
Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you back here at 10.